George, as a college coach, and you being a former high school coach, the word compete comes in a lot in play. I hear different people, different coaches, different parents. They say, "Hey, you got to compete." I even use that word. Hey, you got to compete. What does it mean to you when you hear somebody saying, "Hey, you got to compete"?
Well, I think that the issue is between the junior coach, the player, the parent, and the collegiate coach. It could mean 6 different things. That's the issue. We
Right.
throw it around like we have a universal understanding of every word in sport. When in doubt, we have different things. To me, it means fight every single point, right? Compete. But as a college coach, when you would tell a player to compete, what did it mean to you?
Very simple. But compete, man, was that you weren't winning now. See, because I never used the word with a kid who was winning. So if the kid was winning or did win, I never used the word compete.
Wait. Did you talk to a kid who was winning?
Well, there was an occasion or two that I did.
Don't even look at me.
Yeah.
No eye contact.
No. I talked to him. I said, "Hey, do you need some water? Do you need anything? Towel good? Is towel in the right place?" I put the towel in the right place. I didn't give him advice,
Right.
but when I hear the word compete, like there's a coach at Baylor, the head women's coach at Baylor. I heard him use the word, "Hey, I want them to have contested winners," and I thought about what did that mean, contested winners? It basically meant run for the ball. Hey, don't let the girl hit a winner without you making an effort to get there and touch the ball, because over a period of time, when it's 4-all in the third and that deuce point, now that player will spray the ball knowing that court isn't that big. So contested winners. But what are some of the interpretations you have for compete?
I think the word compete is used because it's simple, it's easy. I think the word, during the heat of the battle, the worst thing you can do is make the kid think too much. If you ever see them scratching their head when you say something to them,
right?
Like I can't even remember what you just said a minute ago.
Right.
Like you lost me.
I don't remember either.
Yeah. So, but I do know the word compete. Now you said contested
winners.
Yeah. Again, I just forgot.
Yeah, that was a fancy word for, hey, run for the damn ball.
Right.
Run for the ball. Now, and then with compete, it is kind of a vague term, and so to use it, but more effective coaches, the most effective coaches. I was just at the NCAA tournament. I saw Manny Diaz, Brian Bolin, Roland Thornquist, and what makes them effective is they get their players to do what they need them to do without telling them to do it. That's really effective coaching.
But are they doing it by saying at that level? They're not saying, and sometimes it could be an eye contact. It can be a facial expression. Right. It doesn't have to be a big labyrinth. That you're going to go down this journey in your little switch over where it has to be too detailed. It can be very specific. And again, it can simply be, with me, sometimes it would be a look.
Yeah.
And sometimes it wouldn't be a good look.
Right. Now, I've heard you say this before, which is one of the seven habits of highly effective people. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And these coaches, and what I've heard you say is you might have a different gesture, a different meaning for the word. The word can compete with your 6 players out there can mean something entirely different. And being at the NCAA tournament, I saw Brian Bolin from Virginia. There were some courts he went on and some that he didn't because his assistant coaches. So they were on certain key courts, and same thing with Manny Diaz. And it seems like that they really get to understand their player.
But I think that's it right there. I think what you're saying is understand, because in my mind, and again, correct me, but the needs, the trigger, the hot, whatever you want to call it, is different with every kid on that court. So you're going to go out and go, hey, look, I'm going to say or do this to my 1.
Yes.
And it's not going to fly with my 3.
Right.
And when you wrap your arms around all 6 players and go, I'm going to use this word compete, and it's going to mean the same thing. It's just not.
No, you're right. Because some player that so it's best to ask them, what does the word compete mean to you? What kind of calls do you like to hear, or verbiage you like to hear while you're playing? Some player may say, which I think I've had experience of, is I'm telling them to compete, and they translate that, hey, coach, you're telling me I'm not trying now.
Right.
You're telling me I'm not trying.
And sometimes that's exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I go, good. We agree.
Yeah.
We understand each other.
So you think we're arguing, and we're just now starting to talk.
We're communicating.
Yeah.
So now, what are some other things like the word compete can mean?
Well, again, I think if it's going to be sometimes, when you talk about a player being up or down, sometimes it can mean, and again, I'm going to say compete to a player who I can see has the momentum. Mm-hmm. And it could mean I just need you to grind it out, put some balls in play.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't jack the first ball up the line.
Yeah, stay with her. Stay with them. Hey, they're getting ready to take their hands out of the fire.
Yeah, exactly. And then the flip side is going to be 2 courts down. It might be, hey, you're just not trying, which is what you said they may think that means. The problem with that, though, is if you don't define exactly what that means,
yes.
then you could be squashing spirits on a tennis court because they think you mean one thing.
Right.
And you mean something completely different.
And I've actually told a player, coached a player, who won the first set and is down 4 or 5-0 in the second set. In order for you to compete, we need to blow a couple of games here and put our hands in the fire for the third set. But let's attack the second serve and go after it, or the first serve, to put some pressure on them. So it'll have an effect, knowing that they're not going to win the second set, but it's positioning them to win the third set.
Yeah.
So
good stuff.
So seek first to understand, then to be understood.